Welcome to Module 3 of the GenderWise program. This module focuses on women's participation in sports boards and management, and on how leadership, organizational culture, and governance practices shape access to decision-making in sport. In sport, leadership is not only about individual ability or ambition. Access to boards and management is shaped by organizational systems, everyday practices, and ideas about who is seen as credible, suitable, and ready to lead. This module helps learners understand those patterns and identify practical ways to build fairer and more inclusive leadership pathways. This reflects the module's overall focus on women's underrepresentation in leadership, the role of governance structures, and the need for practical organizational improvement. Why this module matters. Leadership shapes opportunity. Governance influences inclusion. Representation strengthens sport. 4 learning units. Inclusive leadership in diverse sport environments. Barriers to women's leadership in sport. Gender-responsive leadership strategies and action planning. Evaluating and enhancing inclusion practices in sport.
4 ebooks, 4 infographics, 1 final quiz. Learning Unit 1 introduces inclusive leadership in sport organizations and explains why it matters for women's participation in governance and management. It explores principles such as fairness, openness, accountability, and active listening, and shows how leadership influences participation, decision-making, and organizational culture. The unit also examines how leaders can build trust, encourage meaningful contribution, and adapt their leadership approach to diverse teams, roles, and experiences. Learning Unit 2 focuses on the barriers that continue to limit women's access to leadership roles in sport. It examines structural factors such as policies, hierarchies, decision-making systems, recruitment, and progression pathways. It also explores cultural barriers, including stereotypes, informal expectations, and everyday leadership norms that can restrict women's voice, visibility, and advancement. The unit helps learners recognize that inequality is often reproduced through routine organizational practice rather than through one single act. Learning Unit 3 moves from analysis to action. It explains what gender-responsive leadership means in practice and how sport organizations can connect leadership strategies to gender equity goals. The unit explores how to build support for change, engage decision-makers and stakeholders, and turn commitment into organizational action. It also introduces action planning, including setting objectives, timelines, responsibilities, and indicators that can support women's participation in boards and management over time. Learning Unit 4 focuses on reflection, evaluation, and improvement in inclusive leadership practice. It helps learners assess their own leadership behavior, examine how leadership affects motivation, participation, and belonging, and identify gaps between values and daily practice. The unit also shows how organizations can use criteria, indicators, feedback, and evidence to review inclusion practices in a more structured way. The emphasis is on continuous improvement and on making inclusion visible in everyday leadership and governance.
Key message and next step. From inclusion goals to governance practice. Review one barrier. Change one routine. Track progress. Women's participation in sports leadership grows when inclusion is supported through everyday leadership, transparent structures, and regular review. By recognizing barriers, improving governance practices, and using evidence to guide change, sport organizations can create fairer and more representative leadership environments.